Penn State beats Michigan State. I don't know how many thoughts we have on this one, but 42-0. Drew Allar unleashed his arm in this one through a couple more deep balls than maybe we were used to seeing. It was almost like Mike Yursich just didn't want him to throw them all year. And Drew Allar said, hey, I'm going to start throwing them. He averaged 11.2 yards per pass in this one, so that's better for him. Kaytron Allen, Nick Singleton, they ran. I mean, it looked like the offensive performance that they needed all season just came one game too late. And you saw a Michigan State team that, I mean, they didn't look like they wanted to be there. They didn't look like they had the health to be there. They didn't look like they had enough players to be there. Just a tough game for Michigan State. But like we talked about earlier, there's hope with Jonathan Smith. So, Zach, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I thought the first half, there were moments, like first quarter in particular, there were moments where I was like, Michigan State, like there's some good players here. And like, which makes sense because they won 2 of the past 3 games before this game.
Yeah.
And I thought Penn State struggled a bit in the first half. And then I think the second half, the talent gap really blossomed and they were able to take advantage, I think, of the attrition of Michigan State, which allowed Allar to throw the deep ball. They got Bo Prabula involved. I have a lot of questions about Penn State moving forward, but I'll just say that Penn State did what they do to overmatched teams. Like they grinded on them, and then they go over the top and they're able to score a bunch of points. But I still think there's lingering issues with this offense. And I think the score is not indicative, I think, of Penn State figuring things out.
Yeah, no, I think there was a few more deep balls and stuff like that, which was nice to see, but you're right. It wasn't like it was, from start to finish, this offense is better. I mean, this has kind of been Michigan State's game script all year, like they have a pretty good defense. They have some good players, that can make plays. So they held Penn State to a field goal on the first possession, and then Katin Houser gets out there and he throws an interception on the very first drive. That's just really, really hard to come back from as a defense. Like, you hold this offense of this team that's supposed to be better than you, and then they hold them to another field goal and Penn State misses it. So, this Michigan State defense, they were doing what they were supposed to do. The Michigan State offense just wasn't there to make it happen. So, Connor, what were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, man, for me, it just felt like one of those games where, Michigan State just did not care. They didn't want to be there, and Penn State just knew that and took full advantage of it. I remember seeing a couple clips of James Franklin saying, like, yeah, we are not the team that's going to air it out on you. We don't want to go take the deep shot on you. And, it's funny just to see him say, like, all right, screw it, we'll do that today.
Yeah.
They don't want to be here. Let's just make this game quick. And it just felt that way from the get-go. Now, obviously, like you guys are saying, they did struggle a little bit at first, but all things aside, it just felt like that was going to be a one-sided game the whole way, and surely enough, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and for me, you make a really good point there about James Franklin, because for me, in modern-day college football, you can't be the offense that has to drive the ball 10 plays every single drive to win games. Like, even we want to talk about how, Ohio State and Michigan was a pretty close game with big drives and stuff like that. Like, they still had their chunk plays, and you just don't see those from Penn State as much as you would like to really make that offense go. I mean, when you're, working off a 10, 12 play drive sometimes to put points on the board, like, that's a lot of mistake-free football you have to play to get all the way down the field and to score. And I really feel like James Franklin is going to have to figure that out next year. He's going to have to bring in a better offensive coordinator who is going to be willing to make those big chunk plays and make that happen for his team, because it's a whole lot easier to get 40 yards on one pass than it is to get 40 yards on, 6 plays. So, Zach, do you have any thoughts about that?
No, I think you're right. I've thought that this is the thought I had before. I don't know if James Franklin knows how to use a big armed pocket passer.
Yeah.
Like, his best offenses have always been with a Trace McSorley. I think even moments with Sean Clifford when he runs read option.
Right.
Christian Hackenberg, when he was there, I thought he regressed under him versus Bill O'Brien. And I just like, I think Drew Allar has the talent, but I just don't think, and part of the receivers aren't up to the Penn State standard either, but I have yet to see a pocket passer thrive under Franklin.
Yeah, no, you make a great point. I mean, that's what Franklin wants to do. He wants to get a guy in there who can, do it both with his arm and his legs. And guys like Trace McSorley and Sean Clifford, those were his guys. Even though they might not have been the most talented quarterbacks in the world, those were his guys to make that happen. So